So just what's your name and what topic are you going to talk about?
My name is Carrie Robertson, and I'm going to talk about studying abroad.
Okay. So is this like a program that you do, and how long have you been in the program?
Okay. When I was in college, I got my degree in Spanish, and so part of my program I did have to study abroad. And so for one semester, I went to the city of Pamplona in Spain. So I went to the university there. It's called the Universidad de Navarra. And during that time, I took grammar classes, cultural classes, literature, music, and art classes. So also during that time, I was able to travel around Spain. Now currently, part of my position as Global Studies Academy Coordinator is the students actually have the opportunity to study abroad this summer before their senior year. So I help coordinate that program, and that one is actually through Green Heart Travel. And they're more along the lines of summer camps, and it's not necessarily at a university. They could be at local schools or at actual summer camp.
Okay, so I just want you to talk about like your experience in these different countries and how it changed like your perspective of things.
It changed me a lot because first off, you have to become independent. So I didn't have my mom or dad or anything like that to help me out. So a big part of that is learning how to be independent and balancing your time and so forth, which you start doing that in college, but you're truly on your own when you're in another country. And then the second part of it is you got to learn so much about the culture. And, you know, taking a Spanish class at high school or college, it's one thing, but when you actually have to live the language and you're there, you're living, you don't have an option to speak English. So you're really immersed in the language and you're immersed in the culture. So, you know, you become very more culturally sensitive to other people. I learned a lot from there. I think that was the best experience that I've had in my life. And I encourage all the students here to actually take that experience also because it really helps you to grow as a person, to become more culturally sensitive. So I think it's very important.
Okay, so you speak about culture and the places that you've been to. So can you just talk about how it's different from being in the United States and traveling to another country? Like how the culture is different?
Well, I mean, it comes down to everything, whether it's times that your classes are held, it's just everyday things. It could be foods that you're learning about. Like I said, the education system is a little bit different. So there's a lot. When you learn the language and you study abroad, it's very different because right now, as you know, I'm an American, and so that was the only thing I ever knew is, you know, what we do. And so when you go to another country, you got to realize that, you know what, just because I did it doesn't mean it was the right way, or just because I ate certain foods doesn't mean that those foods have to be served throughout the world.
Sure. Okay. So what things did you have to do to be able to like adapt to that new environment that you were in, like working with different people?
Well, beforehand, we actually had a lot of like seminars that we went to learn about the different aspects. But I think the hardest thing that I had to deal with is the language itself.
Yeah.
In Spain, I never had a teacher from Spain, and their pronunciation is very different. And for about the first week and a half, I think I was lost because I didn't understand them. And just like how in the United States we have different cultures and dialects, they have the different dialects there as well. And so it was very hard to transition from the language. I think that was my hardest part to get used to, just because I didn't understand a lot for a while. And so once my ear acquired that sound, then it became a lot easier.
Sure. So like when you were in Spain, did you make like friendships with people that you felt like it was really hard leaving them back and coming back?
It was, you know, back in that time there was no internet.
Yeah.
So where I lived at, I actually lived in an international apartment, and so I had a roommate from Japan, one from Colombia, and one from Belgium. And so our universal language was Spanish, and so, you know, that's what we spoke in our house, and we became friends with each other and their friends. But most of my friends were actually from my class that I took, and so they were from all over the world. So it was very interesting because we learned about their cultures as well. But, you know, back then, like I said, there was no technology, so for us to communicate afterwards, we wrote letters.
Okay. So you're the coordinator of the program here in Parkville. Like, what are some challenges that you face, like, just getting the students and traveling with them to these countries?
Well, I think here at Parkdale, there's many challenges that, you know, not only Parkdale, but any school. One problem is the parents. They are scared to send their high school age child over to another country by themselves, which is understandable. And I guess I'm on the other side because I did study abroad. I've been to a lot of other countries, even though I wasn't in high school. You know, I know that, you know, if you are prepared and you know what to do and what not to do, then you'll be fine. But that's the first issue, is the parents don't want to send their child off. And I know if my daughter, if I didn't know what I currently know, I think I would hesitate about I would be hesitant to send my daughter over there. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is it's expensive. And, not everybody can afford to pay for that. So, when you talk about a couple $1,000s, who has a couple $1,000s extra in their bank account to just spend on something like that? So that's my second challenge. And here at Parkdale, a third challenge, and this is more, certain schools may have this challenge also, is some students don't have the capabilities of living in the country because of their legal status. And so that's another problem that our students would face.
Okay. So just to wrap things up, like if I were to join the program, why would you, like what are some reasons that you would give me to encourage me to join the program?
Well, I think the students grow from a lot with the different classes they take, the exposure. Right now we're forming a sister school with China. 2 years ago we were working with a school in Nigeria, so those students actually were able to come here. So it was very interesting for the students to gain their aspect of what life was like in I think it was Kenya. I said Nigeria. It was Kenya. To gain their experience there and then have them come here. Also with the students on the business side of it as well, they're getting all these business classes. They're taking global economics, financial services, so they're getting those students prepared. And so a lot of those students now are applying for jobs at the Capital One Bank, and they're going off now into college to study business. So it really helps the students to get a better idea of what business is like. Also studying abroad, it opens their eyes to the world.
Thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much.